Off the back of that breaking news, I've got now the Deputy Chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Intelligence and Security, Andrew Wallace, is with me. He's a former Speaker. What do you make of that news today?
Well, it's a momentous time. It's the first time a diplomat has been expelled since World War II. First thing that comes to mind, Kieran, is I want to thank Mike Burgess, our intelligence services and our law enforcement agencies for the work that they've done in getting on top of this. Look, I am very concerned about this from several perspectives. One is the coalition, senior coalition members have been calling on the government for a number of years to cease our diplomatic relations with Iran. Iran is a totalitarian state that we have seen acting not just now in Australia, but we know has been the cause of attacks in Israel. We've also been calling for the IRGC to be listed as a terrorist group for at least 2 years. Now, we have been told time and time again by this government that that was not possible, that the Crimes Act did not enable that because the IRGC was seen to be an organisation or an instrument of the government of Iran. We have said repeatedly...
So you're saying what they've done today is belated?
It's absolutely belated. We have been calling on this for 2 years, at least 2 years, and but worse than that.
That's on in terms of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. The point that I was talking to Trudy
this is
about,
a really important
by having
issue,
an embassy there, it's enabled us and other Five Eyes nations, other allied nations, to at least have some point of dialogue or contact with Tehran where need be. But that also has gone now.
Look where that's got us. That close contact has got us nowhere. Iran has sponsored and directed a direct attack on Australia, at least two, Mike Burgess says, on Australian soil. This is not just an attack on the 103,000 Jewish Australians. This is an attack on 27 million Australians. And the fact of the matter remains...
You're saying it's belated. They were notified of this yesterday by ASIO. ASIO told them of this link yesterday, is what
we have been calling. Senior coalition members have been calling for the IRGC to be listed as a terrorist organisation for more than 2 years. And the government has repeatedly said, not going to happen, it can't happen under the Crimes Act. We have said repeatedly, well, if the legislation needs changing, then we will support that. And the government has never brought that legislation through. But now... They've listed the IRGC under the legislation that they say couldn't or didn't enable them to do it. So, there are questions that need to be asked here of the Prime Minister, Penny Wong, and the Home Affairs Minister.
Well, the fact that they've now done that and they will list that group as a terrorist organisation, and they've moved so swiftly off the back of that advice from ASIO yesterday to get rid of the ambassador, you would welcome the response to this episode?
I welcome the response, but it is too late. They acted far too late when we have been calling for this for 2 years.
But even if they had done it 2 years ago, that wouldn't have precluded this from happening anyway, because none of it happened via the embassy. The ASIO boss said there were no diplomats involved in this. This was done separately by the IRGC through proxies.
The Iranian ambassador has been expelled. The first time an ambassador has been expelled since 1945.
So you doubt that advice from ASIO too?
I don't doubt the advice from Mike Burgess. Mike Burgess is a great servant of the Australian people.
You sound sceptical though, because...
I am sceptical of this government's response, and that the coalition have pushed this government on these two issues, and the government has remained...
But the Director-General said no diplomat was involved.
Well, it's important that the Australian government acts in relation to the Iranian ambassador to send a very clear message. The IRGC...
But even if they had done what you said 2 years ago and got rid of the embassy, listed that group, that this could still well have happened. There's nothing in that.
You and I are hypothesising here on what could or may have happened. The reality is, if we go to your extent, if we draw that to another conclusion, why do we list terrorist organisations? We list terrorist organisations in part to send a signal to not just to that organisation, but to Australians who may be thinking of providing support to those terrorist organisations. We've seen people in public demonstrations in Australia flying listed terrorist organisation flags. This government's got to get fair income about this.
Yeah. What's just finally, how do you think the Australian community of Jewish Australians will be feeling today off the back of that, the knowledge that this was a foreign entity, an international state actor doing this, at least on 2 occasions, probably more? Well,
27 million Australians should be outraged, and I'm sure they are, that these actions of a foreign state has sought to destabilise social cohesion in Australia.
Yep, well, I think they would be. Andrew Wallace, I appreciate that. Deputy Chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Intelligence and Security. Andrew Wallace joining me there.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.